Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy 005 Dynasty, and I got a cool video here. So I was looking at the NBA Finals winners, right? And I found something that's pretty interesting. The teams leading up until the 2011 season were all legit champions. No stacked decks, no super teams, none of that, right? No getting the best players from one conference to join on one team. All the teams before that, they were legit teams built by the GMs, by the organizations, by drafting the players, legit teams, right? Then you get to 2011, and you got the super team era started by LeBron James, right? And I had a question for myself. I was like, I wonder if Tim Duncan would have caught Michael Jordan in championships. Of course, he wouldn't have been 6-0 and 6 Finals MVPs and never lost, never went to Game 7. That wouldn't have happened. That's Michael Jordan. He did that, right? That wouldn't have been that for Tim Duncan. But I was just wondering if he would have at least caught him in the number of championships. And I believe he would have, because the Spurs were a formidable and legit team. They were a team. They weren't a super team that was put together by players, calling each other in the offseason and saying, hey, we can't beat Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant just won another championship. What are we going to do? Let's team up to go try to beat everybody in the NBA. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, the Spurs, they played the Miami Heat, which was a super team put together. They weren't a team that were built by draft picks, and just people coming up in the organization. They were literally put together. It's crazy. So when they played them, the Spurs and Miami Heat, they played in 2013, right? And the Heat won that. But the Heat were only there because they formed a super team. The Heat wouldn't have been there. That's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing that I found out. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, the Miami Heat would not have been in the NBA Finals if it wasn't for the stacking of the deck, the super teams, and making the Eastern Conference the Leastern Conference, because they had no teams, no formidable teams that could compete really against the Miami Heat, because they put all the superstars basically on one team, and the bench was crazy. Don't get it twisted. The role players on that team, man, Birdman and all these people, that's basically the like your version of Dennis Rodman. You know what I'm saying? The crazy person go and get all those rebounds and fight for you, right? Don't get it twisted, man. You look at that roster is stacked from top to bottom. They got the Miami Heat team is stacked, y'all. It was stacked. So if they didn't put the super team together, they wouldn't even been there. They wouldn't have been there. So what teams would have been there? You get what I'm saying? All the teams out west, those teams are legit teams, man. No super teams. They were balling. The Western Conference was strong. So you got, let's look at this, man. The Spurs beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2007. They beat LeBron James. Right? The Cleveland Cavaliers. And yeah, that's what happened. Then the Spurs and the Cleveland Cavaliers both disappeared from the NBA Finals. 2008 was the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. 2009, Los Angeles Lakers, Orlando Magic. 2010, Los Angeles Lakers and Boston Celtics. So those teams were legit formidable teams. You got one team that the Boston Celtics, they got players that in the last leg of their prime. They're like falling off. They're not that great. Like they're not like young players anymore. And that Boston Celtics team was not a super team. People saying calling it a super, it's not a super team. They need to stop lying. That team was not put together by players. That team was put together by organizations. They're not making super teams. The organizations weren't making super teams. And the leagues back then were basically, it was balance. A balanced league. That's why when you see that Boston Celtics team, they were getting beat too. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lakers beat them down in the finals. You know what I'm saying? So Kobe Bryant wasn't playing that. It was formidable teams and formidable players. It wasn't players talking, saying, let's go join up to beat Kobe Bryant. That's what LeBron and Dwayne Wade did. Remember the banana boat? So basically, the Miami Heat wouldn't have won those 2 championships that they won because they shouldn't even be there. They shouldn't have been there. That's the thing. Legit teams have died out. Legit teams are supposed to be in the finals, not this made up crap. That's why they lost the first one, because it was a made up team. It wasn't a legit formidable team with chemistry and people who built their team up over the years, going through the struggle and the pain and the hardship of losing and then finally getting over the hump. Nah, that's why they lost to the Mavericks. So the Mavericks were a legit team. Nowitzki put the smackdown on him, but it wasn't only him. It was the team. How's LeBron James getting guarded by J.J. Barea and getting his ass whooped, pardon my French, by Jason Terry? Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? That didn't even make any sense. You think those players would have beat Michael Jordan? Are you kidding me? Come on, man. That's laughable. So the crazy thing is, it's like Dallas was a legit team, and they beat Miami. Then Miami comes back the next year, and they beat a young Oklahoma City Thunder team. But that's a formidable team that they were balling because they were young athletes. But to be honest, if the Miami Heat wasn't put together, they wouldn't have been there, and that Oklahoma City Thunder team probably would have won a championship that year. And on top of that, that would have changed the dynamic and the direction of the NBA also, because that young team would have been on the rise. You wouldn't have had Kevin Durant saying, "Oh man, I just lost with this team," and thinking about making the switch to go to any other team, because that would have been his franchise. That would have been his franchise for real. You know what I'm saying? That would have sunk in with him. Years later, he moved to Golden State, but I don't think he would have made that move if he'd have won the championship with Oklahoma. And they should have. The super team got in his way. That he goes and he makes weak moves himself because of it, which is sad. You know what I'm saying? So now you got the Miami Heat beat Oklahoma City Thunder. Then the Miami Heat come back the next year and they beat San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs, after a few years, they finally make it back. But you got to think that, look at how hard the West is. The West is so hard. Look how many years it took for the Spurs to even get back into the finals. And it's a formidable team. Boom. Then the next year, the Spurs laid the smackdown on the Heat. And what's crazy is, if Ray Allen didn't save LeBron, they'd have lost that finals too. So you gotta think about it. Like the Spurs, they were no joke. The Miami Heat barely beat the Spurs. And to show you how good the Spurs were, they come back the next year and beat them. Easily. Put the smackdown on them. And then now, there you go with LeBron James going to form another super team. It's insane, man. It's insane. Which the East is still weak. The East is still weak, very, very weak at this point in time. He jumped from one super team to the next. Don't get it twisted. When he made the Cleveland super team, the Eastern Conference is still weak. How crazy is that, right? So now it's the battle of Golden State and Cleveland. That's crazy, man. Golden State over the Cleveland Cavaliers 2015. Then the Cleveland Cavaliers, they beat the Golden State Warriors. Then the Golden State Warriors come back and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because, you know what I'm saying? Now, Golden State Warriors ain't playing that because they won without their super team. A legit formidable team. Built it up through the draft. Built it up by keeping players. You know what I'm saying? That was like one of the last legit teams. Then LeBron with his super teams. Then KD goes over there. Now it's a super duper team. You know what I'm saying? He one-upped them. It's crazy, son. That the NBA was doing just fine before this guy LeBron James came to the league, man. But the NBA is the culprit themselves. Didn't they stop? Didn't the NBA stop Chris Paul from joining the Lakers with Kobe Bryant because that was a problem? So why would the NBA stop that, but then allow LeBron James and Pat Riley and all of them to go and form the super team over in Miami? It's because they wanted that. They didn't want Kobe to win anymore. They wanted the new face, which was LeBron James. All of his accolades is made up, man. His championships are made up. They're forced on the people. They're forced on everybody. They're forced on the NBA. The NBA changed drastically because of this made up thing that the NBA put everybody through. That's why I don't watch it. It's garbage, man. It's a garbage league. The NBA pushed LeBron James, man, into this stardom person. I don't think he's a star. If he would have stayed with Cleveland and never jumped teams and never formed super teams and he won championships, I'll be rooting for the guy. But the guy jumped teams because they weakened the Eastern Conference, made a super team, and got him to as many finals as possible. And then you're going to eventually win some. You're going to win. He won a couple. Then he won. Ultimately, he won four altogether. It's crazy, son. It's bad. You got to think about how bad what I'm saying here is. You had legit teams in the NBA. I'm talking about structured, organized basketball, playing the legit way. Like people, this is what people see at home. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, you form super teams and messed up the whole dynamics and chemistry. And then you start winning MVP awards and all this and that on your super teams. And people say, yeah. You gotta think about how mentally screwed up people are to root for a person like this and root for teams like that, man. And root for any of this nonsense. And the NBA has not recovered since. I don't know if they'll ever recover because the league is bad. Do you see what's going on in the league today, man? The league today is so bad, man. So bad. You legit, nobody plays defense. And the people who, all the stats are inflated. It's terrible, man. It's terrible. Anyway, let me get up out of here, man. It's your boy, Old 5 Dynasty. I just had to do that video because I was thinking, would Tim Duncan have gotten to MJ's numbers? And I think he might have, not numbers, but I'm saying, the number of championships, 6 championships. And I think Tim Duncan might have gotten there, man, if it wasn't for the super team ever coming in. I was and he still beat a super team. I think you got to give Tim Duncan credit. He beat a super team. You got to give Dirk Nowitzki credit. Beat a super team. You got to think about it. There was no super teams in the East. There was no super teams in the East. No super teams in the East before the super team era was created by the NBA and LeBron James. There was no super teams. So when the super team came, that's how the East was winning championships. I think the Western Conference would have smoked the East all those years. The East probably wouldn't have won one championship outside of Boston winning. And Boston got old. Just like when the Pistons got old back in the day. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep winning. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get old eventually. But yeah, man, that's kind of crazy to think about. After super teams were never created, the dynamics of the NBA, man, and the people who would have like got to those numbers that we hold the standard for. Like, there's a standard. That's kind of crazy, man. Kind of crazy, yo. It's your boy Old Five Dicey. Don't forget to Google me.